Um, Sorry about that. This is part 4 of repairing the Hubert Herr one-day movement and clock. I put the movement in the cleaner. I set my cleaner for 15 minutes cleaning cycle. I have a temperature setting of 50 degrees Celsius. My ultrasonic cleaner is a 30-liter cleaner. I find it helps me, and it does all the movements that I utilize. But while the movement is being cleaned, this is a good time to clean up the case itself. So, as I was saying, with the Old English oil, I will put some Old English oil on the movement case, and then rub that in really good with the same rag that I use, and it'll shine it up really good. I'm going to show you a before and after picture. Let me see if I can. There's some before, and let me rub it down with this Old English oil. I need to put some on the movement case itself so you can see what it does. I'm going to do that off camera. Now this case isn't really that bad. I've seen some a lot worse, but as you can see, there's a before and after picture. It shines it up fairly decent. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning the clock. You also want to clean on the inside, especially if there's gunk like cat hair, and wood particles, and dirt and stuff like that. You want to clean up on the inside. For a tip, when you go to put the movement back in, and if your screws are loose, you could take a piece of toothpick and break it off in the holes, and the tooth will grab that toothpick, and you could tighten the tooth screws up that way. It might take a couple pieces of toothpick depending on how worn out your holes are. But I'm going to go ahead and clean up the entire case to include the topper and the pendulum. And I'll be right back. You might get to the point where your rag doesn't really fit that well. You can pour some Old English on the case and then take a brush, and I have this little brush right here, and you can rub that in, and it'll get where all the rag can't get. It'll get in all the areas where the rag can't get. Or you could pour the oil directly onto that area and wipe it off. Do whatever it takes to shine it up, make it look prettier. While cleaning it up, if you have any nicks or deformities, I like using these furniture scratch markers, and I'll use that to fill any nicks in. As you can see on the pendulum rod itself, there's two different colors. I don't know whether somebody repainted this, but I'm going to go ahead and use the furniture scratch marker and clean it up, and it'll look better than what it is. You could also use the the rag with the Old English oil to shine up the weights. It makes them look really good. Cleaning up the weights also. After you use the furniture marker, you take your rag and buff the wood a few times, and the filler will look almost unnoticeable. There are different types of toppers. This particular topper has little clips in the back that just snap onto the wood. You want to make sure these clips are nice and tight and that they're grabbing the wood really well. Other toppers have screws where these clips are, and they go into the slots that would fit on these toppers. And you want to make sure these toppers attachments are tight too. You could take a hammer and tap on those. And while I'm talking about that, on the door itself on the back of the clock, there's a little tab. You want to make sure that this is nice and tight. If it's loose, take a little hammer and tap that, and that will tighten that tab up so your door stays nice and secured. But I got it shined up pretty decent, and so still waiting on the movement to get clean. While we're waiting on the movement to get clean, remember I said that we had to do some bellow work. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Now, you can use this paper that you get from the post office. It's priority mail paper. I know people that do use it. They wash it first to make it become flexible. I bought some bellow paper myself, and it comes in this width. I cut it in two long ways, so it's this width. Okay, but before you can add the paper back on, you have to clean all this paper off. Now I'm talking the side paper here. And you see that staple? And that's what the wire connects to. I'm going to take that staple out, and then I'm going to take my razor blade and clean off all this old paper. And that's what I'm going to do now. In the top of the bellow, I don't know if you could hear that or not, but there's a washer. And that washer is like gives the bellow the weight so it can drop down. Sometimes you might have to add a washer or two in order to get the weight. But if you add too many washers or too much weight, the clock will have problems activating the cuckoos because of the weight. So keep that in mind. You might not want to add too much weight.